We try not to bother him. He's out there boating in the off season, having his fun. But our football season's not complete until he wraps a bow on it. So, you were known as a coach in college and pro. Some guys do it well. Belichick, probably a little bit of a hole. It was your strength. You're very good with personnel. You could spot it quickly. You could find a tight end and move him to defensive tackle. It was your career, the first big trade in NFL history, where you took the Vikings for a ride. Because I was a big doubter on Big 12 quarterbacks. I didn't trust any of these guys, all that spread nonsense. When was the first time you heard or saw Mahomes? And Jimmy, you went, okay, that's different. That's pretty good.
Well, of course, watching him play the very first time, when he played, I think it's the last game of his rookie year with Kansas City. And from day one, everybody knew this guy was special. I've talked to Brett Beach about him, who actually, scouted him and drafted him. He is amazing in that he is an extremely smart quarterback, knowing how to win games. He can throw the football with accuracy from any platform, regardless if he's scrambling, if he's running to his left, if he's running to his right, if he's in the pocket, whatever. If he's off balance, if he's got to throw sidearm, if he's got to throw over the top, he's extremely accurate doing all of that. He makes great decisions.
Yes.
And so really, there's not much that he doesn't have. People might say, well, how athletic is he? Well, watch him scramble. He's extremely athletic. He's got it all. I told him when they did the special on the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Back a couple of years ago, I think Peyton Manning did this special on them. It was actually in there, and so it's on record. After the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, I went up to him. I said, "You're the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. I've never seen one as talented as him."
Yeah. And you work with Marino and Aikman, so that's pretty high praise. Three-peat. I said this the other day. I grew up with the Steelers in the 70s. I mean, Jimmy, they would go back-to-back shutouts. I mean, they were so dominant. Forget Bradshaw was great. It was the defense that was better. They would go shutout, field goal. You couldn't score on them. And they never three-peated. So go back when you win back-to-back. The hardest part, even when you got the pieces, the hardest part of backing up championships.
Well, the biggest thing is, there's complacency that's going to, come into the organization, and you've got to fight complacency. The other thing is, it's kind of what I call, what about me?
Yeah.
And that's what I told my buddy Bill Belichick, after his, first Super Bowl. Everybody in the organization says, "Hey, I want a raise. I want a new contract." I'm not talking about just the players. I'm talking about the assistant coaches. The assistant coaches write books, do TV shows, do radio shows. The secretary wants a raise. The personnel department, they want more money. And so everybody says, I want more credit. I didn't get enough credit.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to fight there. That's what the organization got to understand. That's what's going to happen when you have success.
Yeah.
But the good thing about our team and what we probably could have won a couple more Super Bowls, we were the youngest team in the league. And kind of like, some of the teams that you've talked about, everybody talks about, the Cowboys when we had the triplets with Aikman and Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith. We led the league with the youngest team in the league. We led the league in defense. And so that's one reason why we were able to have success for a long time.
I defended Kyle Shanahan a little on the overtime decision because he and Andy Reid had both talked to the analytic guys in the building. They knew the rules. But a couple of Chiefs players, McCole Hardman caught the touchdown pass to win it. I don't think he knew. And Niner players said they didn't know. Is that disturbing to you as somebody that's very detail-oriented?
It's not disturbing to me at all because, there's people on your team, they don't know what day it is, much less the rules of overtime. As long as the coaches know the rules, I think you're fine. Obviously, you'd like to have everybody know everything, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
The one thing about college, anytime you lose a ball game, people can pick it apart saying you should have done this, should have done that. There's a lot of people that got hindsight and second guessing. Personally, I would have played defense, right off the bat. That way, especially with Patrick Mahomes, whether or not you want to kick a field goal, or if you want to score a touchdown, or if you want to score a touchdown and go for 2 points. And so the only thing that would ever change my decision on, kicking the ball off, or at least deferring, the only thing that would ever change my decision would be the weather.
Yeah.
And if the weather was such, that might determine something. But Bill Belichick was here about a week ago, and we were talking about analytics. Yeah, really, all analytics is, it's a cheat sheet for coaches that are not real sharp to play the percentages. We had analytics 20 years ago. And the really smart coaches knew the percentages and knew whether or not to go against the percentages.
Right.
But that's all it is. It's a mathematical, computerized thing, whether or not to go for it to 2 points, go for it on fourth down, position on the field, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. But coaches have been playing the percentages ever since they've been playing the game.
So if you were seeking a quarterback, again, if you have a top 12 or 13 pick, your scouting department says this guy's good, this guy's not, you could draft it. But if you had to go the free agent route, which I'm going to give you 5 quarterbacks, is there one you'd take? I'm going to give you 5. Kirk Cousins, a free agent. Ryan Tannehill, a free agent. Baker Mayfield, a free agent. Russell Wilson, potential free agent if released. And Justin Fields, trade for him. Does any one of those, you have to consider everything, cost, age, anybody there you're like, probably lean that way if you were running a team?
I probably wouldn't be really excited about any one of them. But if I had to kind of rank them, Kirk Cousins could be a short-term fix.
Okay.
Depending on the offense. Justin Fields, if you run the right kind of offense for him, and that's the key, if you run the right type of offense for him, he does have talent. Now, again, I don't know that I would be extremely excited about any one of them.
Right.
But that's where it would be. And then another player that's, if he's with the right team and the right supporting cast, Baker Mayfield can win a few games.
Yeah. Jimmy, there's a lot of different ways to win. Offensive coaches, defensive coaches. I'm not a big fan of free agency, but, you can go solve some issues. Just like college, the transfer portal. I'd rather you not use it for everything, but if you have to go find a great corner and pass rusher, you can. Jim Harbaugh seems to me is very unique. At Michigan, I liked his defense more than his offense. At San Francisco, I liked his defense more than his offense. Even at Stanford, I loved Andrew Luck, but it was their run game with Luck. He's such a quirky personality. How do you size him up as a coach? Because I don't think there's anything on the market like him.
I think you used 2 really good phrases there: unique and quirky, and they both fit. But I think with any coach, if you have an organization that you want to win ball games, you bring in a leader. And that's what Harbaugh has done. And like you say, he's won a lot of different ways. But more than an offensive coach, more than a defensive coach, more than a West Coast offense or somebody that's a great defensive coach, you want somebody that's going to set the right kind of culture, the right kind of standard, the right kind of expectations for your players. You want a leader. You want somebody to be able to stand up in front of the room with players from all different backgrounds and motivate those individuals to get better than what they are at that time.
Yeah.
But you want a leader more than anything else.
Yeah. One more question I want to ask you, because you had several jobs. So Jason and I kind of disagreed on this. He's a believer that if you're a coach, you strike when the iron's hot. And there's certainly an argument for that. But I said Ben Johnson looked around, this coordinator for Detroit, Jimmy, looked around and he thought, yeah, I'll take Herbert. Well, I don't know what the quarterback situation for the rest of these gigs is bad. And I got Goff and Amon St. Brown and Gibbs and Dan Campbell lets me call the plays. I'm going to sit here and wait a year and see if there's a better offer. A lot of people think you got to go when the iron's hot. Goff could get hurt. The offense stinks. As somebody that was mobile in his career, what did you make of Ben Johnson's move to stay with Detroit?
Well, I talked to Dan Campbell. He called last week. I think he's going to come down to the Keys. He has set such a positive culture there. The team loves him and Ben Johnson, and as far as the whole staff. They have such a positive thing going right now. The city of Detroit and Detroit Lion fans absolutely love what's happening there.
Yeah.
They've got a young team. They had a couple of rookies, with Gibbs and Laporta. They've got some young players that are very, very good. They're solid at quarterback. They're solid at defense. So you look at Hutchinson, they're going to be good next year. So Ben Johnson, even though you say, hey, you want to strike when the iron's hot, Ben Johnson's going to have an opportunity a year from now because they're still going to be good. They'll be in the playoff mix again next year.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.